time for another round of brandy. Candid conversations over cocktails about all things brand with your hosts, Reilly Newman and Scott Saunders, the brand developers behind Motif Brands.
So we have some good news, actually, for all you eggnog lovers out there. Scott especially. Scott,
well, you too.
I enjoy the occasional eggnog.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Scott's a
Pennsylvania
connoisseur.
Dutch, which is like this really good. It's got brandy, it's got the rum, it's got all the spices,
all the fixins.
It's good, yeah. But I've always loved an eggnog latte. To me, like a sip of that, it's like with pumpkins. I'm not a big pumpkin spice latte, but you know, people sip it. That's their first experience of, oh yeah, autumn has arrived.
Yeah, fall.
For me, eggnog, it's the holidays, and it was always for years. And then it just kind of fell off the map. In fact, most coffee shops, like you go in and just like, hey, do you guys have an eggnog latte? They're not, nope. And
They're
I was
like,
like,
humbug.
when did eggnog all of a sudden get blacklisted? So
Blacklisted.
yeah, I don't know.
So, and now Starbucks, it's been a couple years. They actually stopped doing the eggnog latte, and they just announced a couple days ago that they are bringing it back full force with refined recipe and everything. And they, in their release, they said, we heard the eggnog lovers loud and clear. And so there must have been some type of feedback where now they're bringing this thing back full
All of
force.
my picketing, it's finally paid off.
Your boycott.
I'm out there with the picket sign.
Eggnog gate.
It's like July. I'm out there picketing for eggnog. Okay, so what's interesting too, because recently I feel like this is another brand move for Starbucks where I feel like in essence they're almost taking steps backwards.
Yeah.
Not in bad moves, but just like they're retracing their steps as a brand, because some of the remodeled Starbucks, they're mostly being designed for like online order pickups.
Part of the problem that happened with COVID, with the ordering online, all these technological advances, is that it created this easy, okay, put your order in, come and grab it and go. Very convenient, very efficient. But is Starbucks a convenience store? Is that really the value that it's delivering? When no, Starbucks was built. They changed the coffee industry. They created their own category of premium coffee. And now that actually led a lot of coffee shops being able to charge more, so they can thank Starbucks for that, where coffee wasn't priced the way it was until Starbucks came into the picture. And Starbucks created that third place, which now brands are actually going to that. You have Coach, Prada, all these brands now creating third places for people to hang out. And Starbucks, it was about a year ago, I think, the CEO from Chipotle, he came over to Starbucks, and because Starbucks has been hurting. And so he came over and went, okay, we're bringing back the little stations where you can do your own mixing, put in your own sugar or whatever. We're not charging for those things. We're not charging for alternative milks like almond milk or oat milk or what have you. And then writing on the cups, bringing that back. And then now they are bringing back more seating. They closed down a bunch of their storefronts that were just pickup. They closed down a whole bunch of those. And now they're bringing back the eggnog latte. So it's come full circle, and everything comes down to eggnog. Eggnog is the answer.
Eggnog is the answer. The world solve all the problems.
Everything.
No. So anyway, it's an interesting, brand news note that, in fact, because I just came back, I was walking around and I went down to one of our nicer coffee shops. I'm like, hey, do you guys have an eggnog latte? And she's like, no. So I ended up getting like a chai tea latte. So I come back and I've just said, what's with eggnog latte? Where'd they go? And you moments later, you're like looking up to see, and you're like, oh my gosh, they just brought it back.
Yeah. And of course, this reminds me of a Seinfeld episode with the soup Nazi and the no soup for you, no eggnog for you, no nog for you.
Yeah.
So, and in other news, we wanted to talk about another brand that is just killing it in the retail space. They are one of the top performing retailers in the market right now due to economic tailwinds, but also just the strategy that they deployed. And they were founded in 2002, believe it or not. But it just seems like that everything they put in place has not only leaned into where markets were going, how consumers are shopping, and just everything from seriously TikTok to the experience economy, like we talk about all the time, but just they've really kind of navigated a lot of different markets masterfully. And that brand is Five Below. If you're not familiar with them, which I think they're they're everywhere pretty much.
Yeah.
They are.
I mean, they pop up around the same time like when you have dollar stores. In fact, I
Yeah.
think in ours there's a Five Below, and then next to it is a dollar store. So it is that value lane market that they're going for, right? Almost everything in the store is $5 or less. I love going there because they have an amazing candy aisle. They have like so many different, like even vintage candy that you don't normally come across, and it's not expensive. And it's, but they have a lot of different stuff, but it's mostly for a specific age bracket, right, Reilly?
Yeah. So even initially, from when they first founded it, they were going, "Hey, we're going to create a store that's everything's $1 to $5, and it's aimed at teens and tweens," which is really genius because you think about if they're selling these items that are already essentially high margin impulse goods, like what you see when you're checking out, you usually see these little items, $2 here, $3 here. And those items are usually very high margin. So they're very profitable. You create an entire store based off that. And so then you have to lean into not only volume, but also you have to have high churn of product because you need to keep drawing that foot traffic in. And what demographic is more subject to trends than the teen tween space? And again, that's leaned into the whole TikTok thing because a lot of things they do, when fidget spinners were in, they did that. When Squishmallows were in, they started doing that. So they're always pulling in all these kind of
the new thing,
yeah, and it's genius. And then they're driving that foot traffic of young kids, and they're coming in, and it's literally a candy toy store for them, and they're just going nuts with their $5 bills.
Which is kind of gets into the customer experience of things, because the way they designed it, you said it reminds me of like the time like when you'd be a kid and you'd be able to like cut loose in Toys R Us, a big toy store where you'd be able to run around all the aisles and just be amazed at stuff. And I think what's cool is that with that particular bracket, you were saying like where you've got a young kid who's maybe like earned a $5 and they go and you take them there and you go, dude, just everything's $5 or less, except they have one section that's like, it gets a little bit more expensive, but it's like stuff that's maybe up to $20, but it's a special section in one corner, but everything else is $5 or less. And so the kids running around, they're looking at candy, their books or toys, or, clothes, things like that, jewelry, things that they would be into. And it's like a kid in a candy store.
Well, and that's a good point because they reframed budget constraints to almost like this gamification. So even that, you give a kid $5 bill or $10, and it's like, okay, what can I get within that, right? It's not a budget constraint anymore. Now they're looking at things that are actually designed and programmed for that shopping mode, and I think that's what's so genius about it. Because another brand that's doing really great right now is TJ Maxx, and TJ Maxx is genius because it's kind of got the Costco treasure hunt effect where you go in, you don't know what you're going to find. And so you're kind of in this hunting mode. Rory Sutherland did a funny bit on this. He's the chairman for Ogilvy, and he's talking about, he's like, I don't understand people who go into TJ Maxx looking for a specific, like, a blue sweater or something like that. He's like, you don't get it. It's not the point of TJ Maxx. It's like TJ Maxx, you go in kind of open-minded. You kind of have this like hunter-gatherer thing going, and then you go, what can I... And then everything's a treasure because you find it, right? And so not only TJ Maxx has that, which is winning, and they're on the economic side, but also Five Below has that as well, plus the gamification of the pricing ceilings. So then, like Scott said, they have pretty much everything is, $1 to $5. And then it's really smart because they created this 5 beyond section. And that's pretty much $10 to $25. But they didn't just start mixing these items in with the other stuff, because that would not only dilute their positioning as a brand, but also kind of start breaking promises with the consumer. That they're coming in thinking $5 and they're going to see a $15 item. So they keep it almost like this sub-branded little section that when you enter it, you're going into, okay, these things are, a little more expensive. Yeah. So it's really, really genius just from a strategy standpoint and that whole experience they've created.
Personally, for me, one of the things that I love about shopping, the times I have stopped into Five Below is particularly around the holidays when, for instance, let's say you have a white elephant party, and it's like, it's a $5 or $10 limit. So you go to a place like that, like you go to Walmart, you go to Target for things like that, but you're spending more time scavenging, trying to find something in your price range that would work rather than, trying to, like, it's different if you're shopping going, I'm going to get this. And then you go and you Target, all of them in one section, and then you shop by price. This is by shopping by price by default. So I always find it's great for around the holidays, especially like stocking stuffers and things. Let's say you have a budget, like you're only going to do, if it's $20 stockings or $50, be able to go and like fill a little bit of that leftover balance with just some fun different things, because they have such a wide range.
Right.
So I think that's where, again, it's I think their niche has been finding a way to define shopping at a different parameter by which most other people shop.
Yeah.
Yes, dollar store does that, but to me, dollar store is like the value. It just doesn't come across as a brand with high value to it.
Yeah.
It's like the cheapest of the cheap, right?
It's like Temu.
Yeah, kind of.
It just
and
has a
so
different
to
perception.
me, it's like I feel like with Five Below, because I've been in there and like even some of their books, like they have some cool books, and the toys, they have like Funkos, they have other things that are on par with same type of toys you'd find at Target.
It's funny because I feel like it does come down to a lot of just the perception of it. Is that I think I saw a quote, and it was one of the founders, and he was saying that they specifically chose not to do necessities. Is that all the things they sell in there are pretty much what you'd call like luxuries. They're not selling sponges and erasers and pencils and stuff like that.
And Dollar Store does that.
You can get like
Dollar
toilet
General. There's a
scrubber.
bunch of the Dollar. I know there's Dollar Store. Dollar General is another big
like everything.
chain. But it's these dollar stores, and yeah, they sell everything. I mean, you could find a whisk or even a spatula or something probably for $1. Might not last that long, but again, if it's a need.
And I feel like it's part of the perception they've done, because even like my daughters who are 7 and 9 going on 10, it's like them and their friends, going to Five Below is like, it's like a little experience for them where they enjoy going there. It's something that they talk about, and they don't talk about going to Dollar Tree. Like, it's like, they like going to Five Below. It's exciting. It's fun. Oh, look what they found. And I think this is part of actually what they've been able to leverage is what you see now with like affordable luxuries, or what you call like the lipstick effect. And that's what Ulta has leaned into. That's what the whole TikTok marketplace is built off this. And what that is essentially goods that are being sold that are fun things to buy, like lipstick, where it's $5, $15 or whatever, and someone can buy it easily, but it still makes them feel okay and makes them feel happy about the purchase, and they get a little bit of dopamine from it because it's not an essential purchase. You're not buying toilet paper or paper towels. It's something fun for you, but it's affordable. And they've leaned into that. And that's what, again, like TikTok, you look at things being sold on TikTok, they're easy little purchases like that are, oh yeah, you can spend $15, $20 and it doesn't hurt you, but it also makes you feel really good about yourself.
Yeah.
And again, it's like Five Below has leaned into not only the trends, but the price point and just the overall perception. They've framed it so well. And I feel like that's, like we talked about before, is like the narrative, is that they took the economic kind of affordability story and they put their own little narrative twist on it. And that's what made it so unique and creates this really cool experience for people. And that's what leans into their signage and just like the whole, when you're in the store, it's really unique. And like Scott said, the books, it's like they don't have main title books, but they have interesting different topics and just kind of like a good assortment.
Or even like, for instance, like they have like a lot of sometimes like journal books, that are just like lined inside their blank, but they have like ones that are like like Hogwarts journal books, and they'll do a lot of there are some brands and some quality stuff. It's not on par with you'd find in like Barnes and Noble and all that other like bookstores, but they're still they're good stuff for the price.
Right.
So
I think they've really hit it out of the park in so many ways. And now like they're killing it on the stock market. Like year to date, they're up 67%. And so they are just really performing absolutely.
Even their checkout is a little bit different, right? They just have just like, I don't know, 6 or 7, self-checkout little, and they're facing the wall, and it's just a scan. A lot of them are just cash only, if that's the case, but self-bag, everything else, and they just have one clerk that's just kind of in eyesight of the, all of them, and so it's just super, super simple to get out. It's not like waiting in long lines. Like you go to TJ Maxx, there's always long lines at TJ Maxx, but that's why they have like that kind of like a kind of a maze, where they walk you through, and you're always like standing there, and that's the sucker aisle, because you have no choice but to sit there and just look at whether it's nail polish or candies or whatever, coffee mugs. You're just finding yourself looking at all sorts of things, and I've always inevitably ended up grabbing a little extra something, finding something.
No, exactly. And I think this is like why it's important to me is that we talk about the experience economy. We talk about creating narratives, and yes, as a luxury brand, you can do that. There's space to do that. There's ways to approach the market to add value because you're profitable and you're in the luxury market. But even with a brand like this, where you do have affordability in mind, you have the economics in mind, and you're leaning into different devices to actually draw that foot traffic, to create more value and to create that experience. It's like, you can do it. You definitely, all across the spectrum of from luxury to affordability, you're able to create that experience, and that's what drives that, really the kind of more just the emotional side of it. It's not just, there's more fun involved. If you haven't been in a Five Below, go check it out. It is quite an experience and something to just kind of take notes about as you're going through and just watch their pattern of how they approach it. But thank you for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.